Hey everyone, we're going to dive into Bitcoin today as we have CPI data coming out tomorrow, which is likely to provide a lot of volatility for the market. And with that said, I want to show you the most likely levels that are going to get tagged and some of the most likely scenarios in the short term for Bitcoin after this CPI data and leading up to it. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. So since our last video, we got that impulsive breakdown that we spoke about on Bitcoin, and you can see that as we got this breakdown, we caught some support and we've now stalled at this particular order block for Bitcoin at about 21.7, which is the start of the order block below us that we broke out from back in the middle of January, and we're now retesting this level. So I wanted to outline to you pretty quickly what I see as the two most likely scenarios and how you might be able to play them. So we're currently actually finding support on this level, and there is a reasonable chance that we're going to retest this level in the next week or so, which is about $22.3 thousand, and that's the area that we broke down from. We have a bit of a void and a fair value gap over here, which is probably likely to get filled, and that could come in tomorrow for CPI. So I think the market is likely to stall out and go sideways maybe in the next 24 hours unless something very particular happens. But you can see that on the smaller time frames for Bitcoin on the 15-minute chart, that we're just starting to see support kick in at 21.7, okay, which is what we would expect. But you can see that we're just starting to get some swing failure patterns here on Bitcoin, where we created this low last Friday at 21.47, and we just took out this low and again moved back up, and we're now just back into the range. So if we see some support over here and we see some follow through, and we can probably break this trend line on Bitcoin, which is a pretty simple trend line, right? If we can break this impulsively, then I think, you know, that's probably going to give us a little bit more conviction that we're likely to take out $22,000. And if we take out $22,000, I think the next most obvious target for me is going to be a retest of this level at $22.3 thousand. A second most likely scenario, if Bitcoin falls a little further from here, and if we break these lows at $21.45 thousand for Bitcoin, we have this 4-hour support breaker over here, which is the red candles before the up move that broke the structure of the market within this order block over here. So I think that we could definitely catch a bid over here, but likely I think that still in the next week or two, we're either going to consolidate here. Whether the low is in here, we're not exactly sure, but we're going to probably retest this level, okay? Or a second scenario, like I said, given that we've got CPI volatility tomorrow, maybe we catch one more bid down here into this level, and then maybe look for areas of support at about $21,000, okay? And then a retest of this level, which, like I said, I think is going to be quite likely in the coming week or two. I don't think that Bitcoin is going to fall like a stone and just completely just reverse all of the gains that it's made. That's not typically how markets work. And usually when you see these impulsive moves like this, okay, and if we just drop this obviously onto the daily time frame, I think we all know and feel how large this move is, okay? It's not often we just give it all back with at least some sort of retest when we have a clear level of price action and order blocks above us. The lowest that Bitcoin can fall, in my opinion, without a retest of this level is probably going to be this 20,000 level, which is going to be this horizontal support over here. And again, the CME gap and an area of liquidity where people's stop losses are going to be is an easy point over here, just under 20,000 and about 19.5 before we, at the very least, like I said, see a retest of this level. And we can find some confluence with some of these key trend lines over here for Bitcoin. So you can see that these levels that we actually broke down from and retested quite a few times, that, you know, if we're able to come out of this level, okay, and then consolidate and move back to the upside over here, and that does happen on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday this week, then that would again put us about $22.4 thousand. Okay, and again, this is a level and a region at where we're looking for resistance for Bitcoin in the short term. So if we come into this level and we see some high time frame wicks and we start to basically move back down, then it's very likely that we're probably going to form some kind of lower low and move into further deeper areas of support, which again I think are likely to be filled at some point in the next month or two. I think that we revisit this and we don't just go straight to $26,000. That is not my opinion at the moment. And be careful that if we do come out here and we get a violent impulsive move with a lot of volatility, especially from CPI, and we manage to break this level, okay, we still have, like I said, some key trend lines coming in over here, okay, which again is the rising trend line that we broke down from this really distribution pattern that we've been seeing towards the start of February. So if we break out of this level again over here, I would still expect Bitcoin to see you know, pullbacks and you know, resistance anywhere up to about $23,000. If we manage to basically see support here and then basically close back in this range on a high time frame, at least the daily, more likely a 3-day or a weekly close back in this level will tell you that this move over here is just a deviation. So whilst I am expecting Bitcoin to see some resistance at this $22.4 thousand level, if we do get a daily or a weekly close back into the range, okay, you have to wait for that close to give you confirmation, at least on a daily, more ideally on a weekly time frame. Okay, then we can basically look to basically, you know, take this into higher price levels, but we want to see that support come in first. So far, there is nothing to suggest that, and I think that this is now going to be support flipped into resistance if we attack it again. And remember, the DXY is also going to give you a little bit more clarity as to where the direction of these risk markets are going to go. So if we see the DXY, okay, basically push into these 105 levels, 104 levels, and we basically get another leg up here, okay, it is likely that Bitcoin will move down into those 20,000 and possibly even touch the 19.5K. If we see the DXY, especially tomorrow, we see some volatility, kick back down to the downside, and we still eventually just correct, but maybe grind down. This probably opens up some possibilities for Bitcoin, like I said, to move up to those $22,500 levels. And you can see that the key order blocks on some of these higher time frame, on the 4-hour, we've got a breaker here at about 101. So look for Bitcoin to potentially cap some bids over here and resistance to be in confluence with these levels. Okay, so if we see the DXY push down to these levels, get support, and we see Bitcoin move up to those $22,500 levels and start to see resistance, it's probably likely that at that point, you know, the markets are showing you that that Bitcoin is probably going to correct a little bit further. So I hope you got some value from that video. If you did, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until the next one, I will do another update after the volatility has kicked in after CPI, so we can basically better gauge the direction of the market. So until the next video, I'll catch you next time.